Hello, my name is Pratik and this is a demo lecture for an Academy Stars. So, my choice of topics today is based on the understanding that UPSC checks both the ability to understand concepts deeply and the ability to memorize and organize factual data clearly. Accordingly, these are the two topics I am going to cover in this demo lecture. Let's start with the first topic, which is factors responsible for the formation of tropical cyclones. In UPSC, this topic is also called as ideal conditions required for cyclone formation, and my understanding of this topic is that there is absolutely no need to remember or memorize the factors if we understand the concept behind the cyclone formation. So let's start with our conceptual understanding. So I have taken India and Bay of Bengal for reference. So, by cyclone, from our observation, we know that it is a phenomena which occurs on the oceans or on a large sea surface. So, that would be our first factor, that is a large sea surface. Now, second is that as the name suggests, tropical cyclone, it suggests that a tropical cyclone occurs in the tropics. Now, we know that tropics is a region of high temperature. So, that would be our second factor, that is a high temperature. Now, if we club both these factors, that is a large sea surface and high temperature, we get our first proper factor, which is a warm sea surface temperature. Right? Now, next. Now, whenever there is a high temperature, there will be a formation of low pressure system. Let's understand the basics behind it. So, whenever there is a high temperature, it will heat up the air, right? And whenever air molecules heat up, they expand. And whenever they expand, it means that they are becoming less dense. That means they are becoming lighter, and a lighter air will rise. So whenever a lighter air will rise, a hollow will be created, and to fill that hollow, air from high pressure is attracted towards that hollow, right? So as we see that this low pressure which is created, this low atmospheric pressure which is created due to high temperature, it will attract winds, right? So we often hear that air moves from high pressure to low pressure. Primarily, this is the reason why air moves from high pressure to low pressure, and this is how winds are also created. So this low pressure system, it is very crucial for the initiation of cyclone formation, right? So that would become our second important factor. Now, moving ahead, we know that cyclone, as we have seen images also, we know that cyclone is a spiraling system. So, what gives the cyclone its spiraling nature? So, that would be our third factor. So, that is, we know that a Coriolis force, what it does, is that it deflects the winds to the right in the northern hemisphere, right, and to the left in the southern hemisphere. So even this Coriolis force is at play here. So it will since this is a northern hemisphere, right? We have taken Bay of Bengal, India, which is in northern hemisphere. So these winds will be deflected to the right. Okay, and this will look like this, as the winds are also getting attracted to the low pressure. Okay, so that Coriolis force is crucial for the spiraling movement of the cyclone. So that is a third factor. Two facts here to remember here is that first is we see that since Coriolis force in northern hemisphere is making the winds deflect to the right, so we see that the cyclone in northern hemisphere, it is moving in anti-clockwise direction, right? So this Coriolis force in southern hemisphere will cause the cyclone to move in clockwise direction. So this is another concept to know why the cyclone moves in anti-clockwise. That is because of the Coriolis. So we do not have to memorize it. Another fact, as I mentioned, is that Coriolis force is effectively absent at equator. So since it is effectively absent at equator, there will be no spiraling movement. So we do not see cyclones form at equator, right? So we moving to the next. So Coriolis force is a very important factor. Now moving to the next factor. So see, this is a low pressure, and we are getting winds here. And as we discussed, this air will rise in this from low pressure. This is also called as convection, right? And this rising air this rise of air is very crucial this for the cloud formation, as whenever air rises it will cool down, and as it cools down it will condense to form clouds. Now this air, when it is rising from here, it is called as atmospheric instability, and that in atmospheric instability, so that becomes an important factor for the vertical uplift, for the cyclone to form its structure vertically, and for the deep cloud formation. So that becomes our fourth crucial factor, which is atmospheric instability, right? Now moving ahead to the next factor. See, whenever there is a less low wind shear, first let's understand what is a wind shear. So wind shear is basically that the variation in the wind velocity. So whenever there is a lot of variation in wind velocity, we can see that the structure of the cyclone can be disturbed. So see, we can see that it is getting tilted. Whenever there is a low wind shear, the structural integrity of the cyclone is maintained. So to maintain the structure, low wind shear becomes an important factor. And the last factor is the upper level divergence. So whenever air, as we see, the air is rising here, we do not want pressure to build up here. So if pressure is built up, this process will not be sustained. So we need a upper level divergence, so that for the sustained intensification of the system, right? And also we know that since air is cooled down, air rises and cools down, so whenever it cools down there is formation of high pressure, and at high pressure winds tend to diverge, right? We saw that at low pressure winds tend to converge. So that is the last factor, which is the upper level divergence. So coming back to our presentation, this is a cyclone. So let's revise from the start. So we need a warm sea surface temperature as the energy source, as the base of the cyclone, right? Now, as there is high temperature, there will be a formation of low atmospheric pressure, which will be the cause of initiation of the cyclone, right? Now, the third is the Coriolis force, which will cause the spiraling movement of the cyclone. The fourth, to impart the vertical uplift, we need an atmospheric instability, which will be a result of low pressure, right? And to maintain the structural integrity of the cyclone structure, right, of the cyclone, we need a low vertical wind shear. That is, we need less variation in wind velocity at different heights, right? And the last is the upper level divergence for the sustained intensification, right? So by this we cover this topic of factors responsible for cyclone formation. Let's move ahead to the next topic, which is pre-Congress associations from modern history. I just want to mention that my intent for this topic is not coverage. I just want to show how factual topics can be dealt smartly and how their content can be prepared and organized in an efficient manner. So, a basic introduction of this topic is that the pre-Congress associations were associations which were formed before the Indian National Congress was formed in the year 1885, and they were spread throughout India, right, and even abroad. So, since they were spread in different regions, we can always categorize them according to their regions, such as Bengal, Bombay, Madras, and other regions, right? So now, if after doing this, we can deal with all the associations one by one based on their region. So first is a Bengal presidency. Now this is a basic introduction which I will not go into detail. This is a timeline for the Bengal presidency, right? And all these associations are arranged in a chronological manner. Now, as I mentioned that I'm going to show how to effectively do such topics. So I'm going to show a two-way process to do this. First is to separately cover each association by going through their data, by going through their content, their story, and then we can organize, after we are done with each association, we can organize all the associations in a single page, in a one place, and that can be in the form of a mind map or a tabular format, right? So following the first step of going through each association separately, we can cover it in this fashion. So this slide, which gives information both for prelims from prelims point of view and also from mains point of view, right? For example, there can be a question of the role of pre-Congress associations in developing the political landscape, or there can be a question of who were the founders of Bangabhasha Prakasika Sabha. So this way we can deal with each association separately. Similarly, we can do for landholder society, which was previously called as Zamindari Association, and similarly every association can be completed one by one. Now this is for Bengal presidency. Same process can be followed for Bombay presidency and for Madras presidency and for other regions. Now after this is just the first step. After we are done going through each association one by one, we there comes a second effective process, which is to organize each and every association in one place. Okay, in one place. So for that I have prepared. I'm sorry. For that I have prepared a table. Right. So such tables can be highly effective for last minute revision for organization of a content. For example, as we see Bangabhasha Prakasika Sabha, the founders were associates of Rajaram Mohan Roy. We can see that Indian League's founder is Sisir Kumar Ghosh, and Amrita Bazar Patrika Group is associated with this. We can see in 1876, Indian Association was formed by S.N. Banerjee and Ananda Mohan Bose, and it is considered as a precursor to the INC. So this tabular format gives us all the important, the relevant information in one place, and we often fall prey to perfection and going through a lot of things which may not be important, and such analysis we can get from the following the PYQ trends, right? So we get to know that all this information mentioned in this table becomes important from prelims point of view. Similar table can be made for Bombay and Pune. See, we can see the members of Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, right? And we can see when was Madras Mahajana Sabha formed. So there can be a question on UPSC can ask to organize each association according to the data formation, right? We can get a question of which organization was formed outside India. So for example, East India Association was formed in London, right, by Dadabhai Nauroji, right? So this is how we can organize our content smartly, but it is always effective to go through them through their basics through their content as we did in the first step, but it is important to consolidate all this information by way of such tabular format or mind maps or any other innovative flowcharts, right? So to sum up, UPSC can be made effective by building our conceptual understanding and smart organization of content. Thank you.